A single flashbulb burst across the Abbey's vaulted gloom and caught Queen Camilla off guard, her mascara smudging just enough for every royal watcher to gasp proof, they whispered, that the unbreakable consort had finally cracked. Yet the real fracture hadn't happened beneath the chandeliers of Westminster but weeks earlier, behind gilt doors, when Carole Middleton marched through a staff corridor, refused the discreet servant's entrance Camilla had arranged, and strode straight into a royal reception with the confidence of a woman who has nothing left to fear from titles. That unprecedented move detonated fault lines long concealed beneath polite curtsies, a cold war for influence over the 3 children who will one day define the House of Windsor. Camilla's camp insisted she'd merely tried to spare the Middletons' embarrassment. After all, party pieces had collapsed, creditors circled, and images matter. A simple backdoor arrival, she suggested, to protect everyone's dignity. Carole heard condescension where Camilla heard courtesy. She thanked the usher, declined the side passage, and accepted the glare of every lens in the marble hall. From that instant the narrative slipped from palace control and into the whispers of equerries, footmen, and, soon enough, Fleet Street. Inside the family, the rift is older than George's first wobbling steps. Camilla wields protocol, full diaries, and the authority of a consort crowned beside her king. Carole wields bedtime rituals, bruised knee plasters, and the easy laughter of a granny who sits cross-legged on nursery carpets. One commands investitures, the other commandeers Play-Doh. That contrast might have remained private had Prince Louis not scrawled a lipstick-red thank you note the night of the Christmas Carol concert. "Thank you Granny and Grandpa for playing games with me." The cameras caught the folded paper, social media caught the subtext. In 5 innocent words the youngest Wales child crowned Carole emotional sovereign. For Camilla, that note burned hotter than any tabloid headline dredging up her past. She had spent 20 years reforging her public image, soft voice at hospice bedsides, steady hand in Charles's most fragile hour, queenly poise during chemotherapy scares, and yet one child's soot-smudged handwriting eclipsed a decade of palace choreography. Courtiers reported uncharacteristic tremors in her tone when she read the card. Those tears in the Abbey were merely aftershocks felt in public. Carole's ascent was never calculated, insiders insist. She learned resilience selling party balloons from a kitchen table, not wielding silver spoons at debutante balls. When Kate's cancer treatment sapped strength this spring, Carole moved into Windsor without fanfare, dishes washed, homework checked, bedtime hugs delivered while the world dissected the princess's health bulletin. She did not pause for cameras. Children noticed. Comfort, once intangible, began wearing Carole's floral apron. Camilla, raised to orbit at a respectful distance, tried warmth in her own polished way, boxed sets of Beatrix Potter, handwritten birthday scrolls, polite inquiries about school projects, but her presence remained scheduled, ceremonial, edged by private secretaries and camera shutters. George and Charlotte answered graciously, yet instinct drew them to Granny Carole for whispered confessions and secret biscuits. Observers inside Sandringham's nursery corridor call it gravity. The children simply tilt toward the woman who has always knelt on the rug, not hovered above it. The Queen's frustration sharpened after the Westminster kindness tree incident. Public sympathy surged for the Middletons, portrayed as steadfast commoners braving bankruptcy while still propping up the monarchy. Commentators contrasted Carole's quiet sacrifice with Camilla's perceived detachment, and every column inch deepened the fissure. Camilla's allies protested she'd faced decades of vilification, rebuilt the duchy estates alongside Charles, modernized court patronages, yet none of it translated into the visceral currency of a grandchild's casual affection. Tension escalated when palace planners drafted seating for George's upcoming Eton welcome dinner. Catherine gently requested Carole's place beside her at the top table. Camilla's name appeared 2 rows down, anchor of the senior royal cluster. Protocol sputtered. Charles, ever mediator, proposed rearrangement. William stayed silent, fingers drumming a tempo neither fast nor forgiving. The final chart remains under lock, but the tremor traveled, suddenly caught precedents bent to maternal gravity, not precedence books. Fuel poured from an unexpected quarter, leaked whispers of Camilla lobbying Charles to limit Middleton invitations at a forthcoming state banquet, citing optics during financial scrutiny. The request, though privately phrased, reached Carole's ears as an insult. Bankrupts shouldn't blemish crystal. Carole, never prone to confrontation, wrote a measured letter. She would happily skip the banquet but would continue entering by the front door whenever grandchildren asked her to attend school concerts on royal grounds. The note found its way to William's briefcase. Those who read his expression say the Prince of Wales folded the page once, twice, then slid it into his jacket over his heart. Inside Montecito, distant Sussex ears pricked. Harry, estranged yet attuned to palace drama, reportedly rang his Aunt Sarah McCorquodale to gauge the Middletons' standing. The Spencer side remains quietly supportive of the exiled prince, and alliances shift like chess pieces under chandeliers. If Camilla loses moral ground to Carole in the public eye, Harry senses leverage for his own return negotiations. And, flinty guardian of tradition, would rather swallow sand than see Sussex memoirists exploit consort missteps, and so the Princess Royal's temper now crackles toward both ends of the family tree. Meanwhile Kate, still recovering yet inching back into public light, becomes the pivot of this silent war. She owes her mother everything, loves her mother-in-law's husband, and depends on both women to stabilize her children's world. Insiders heard her plead for détente, 2 grannies, 1 childhood, let it be enough. Camilla offered olive branches, invitation to a private Clarence House luncheon, shared charity project spotlight, but Carole, bruised by whispers of backdoor entrances, declined the photo-op balm. The children already know my door, she answered. They'll lead you through it when they're ready. As summer recess looms, Balmoral braces for a showdown disguised as a Highland holiday. Charles longs for fly-fishing peace, yet storm clouds, meteorological and familial, gather over the Dee. Will Camilla, eclipsed in nursery lore, assert her rank with new protocols? Will Carole, emboldened by public sympathy, stroll the heather as equal matriarch? Or will the children themselves dictate terms, tugging Granny Carole toward the pony paddock and beckoning Queen Camilla to join the picnic rather than preside? One thing is certain, the battle lines are drawn not along thrones and state carriages but toy chests and bedtime books. Power, for the first time in Windsor memory, hinges on who bandages a scraped elbow before the press release hits the wires. Camilla can still shape statecraft, host diplomats, steady Charles through chemotherapy, but in the quiet kingdom that truly matters, the hearts of George, Charlotte, and Louis, the crown sits on a grandmother who once stitched party banners at a kitchen table. And so the monarchy edges into a new, unsettling arithmetic: titles plus duty minus presence equals irrelevance. Carole understands the math. Camilla, tears drying under television lights, finally feels the subtraction. Whether she rewrites the equation depends not on curtsies or press officers, but on the next note Louis scribbles, the next confidences Charlotte whispers, the next history lesson George recites, including the unexpected chapter where love outranked lineage and a queen consort learned humility from the woman who enters through the same door as her grandchildren.